Crowd's ready. Oh, thank you. I'm looking too. And yeah, so you guys ready for this? Our last match on the main stage of the night here at Circus Maximus at Caesars Atlantic City. That's right. Let's get in the game. The countdown is going. Ryung versus Rhett. Terran versus Zerg. Who's going to come out on top?
I don't know. This is my Rhett versus Ryung dance, though. Go. I'm ready for this.
All right.
Suspense screen is up. And here we go. All right. So it looks like everyone is loaded into the match. Yeah, there we are. Down at the bottom right-hand corner of Antigua Shipyard, we have the one and only from Team Slayers. That is Ryung, spawning as our Red Terran. So give it up for Ryung.
All right, and then over at about the 9 o'clock, maybe like 8 o'clock-ish position, depends on your time zone, is our Blue Zerg player from the team, TeamLiquid.net. Give it up for Rhett.
All right, and we're going to move into things here pretty quickly. And, you know, you were mentioning before that a lot of Zerg players are going after builds that revolve around taking that gold pretty early. Yep. Now, if Rhett would decide to do that on this map, it'd be a little bit more difficult because his natural is pointing himself towards the bottom gold. He would have to take the one over at the top. Yeah,
I really doubt we'll see that in this game. In this case, though, his third is going to be a little bit more protected. True. But the positions mean that his main, you know, maybe dropped a little bit more often, too. So his spawning pool may be at risk. We see a lot of Terrans. MMA, who's a teammate of Ryung, loves to drop in the Zerg main and snipe that spawning pool. We've even seen some Zergs in Korea start to build their spawning pool away from the back of their base just for that specific purpose. DRG, Darnregu is starting to do that quite a bit. So yeah, it's interesting to see kind of what players have planned for that.
And Ryung throwing down his racks at the front, no real surprise here. The real question is going to be if he bypasses gas or not, or decides to open for Hellions right away, as I would imagine. There's the 75 minerals, there's the gas. Yep. We'll probably see some sort of Hellion play out of him. He could throw us for a loop. And Rhett actually going to open up with a 15 hatch, already sending that drone down to the natural.
Yeah. Not bad at all. You can certainly go hatch first against Terran. You can produce enough units to hold off 2 racks of aggression if your opponent decides to do that, if you're a skilled Zerg like Rhett is. But Rhett doesn't need to worry about that. There's no 2 barracks. It's going to be a normal opening from Ryung.
Yeah, certainly. And we'll see how much gas he saves up, or if he goes into an add-on, if it's going to be the Reaper Expander, if he's going to move into Hellion play as I had suggested before. And there we have spawning pool coming up for Rhett as well. It was actually, I believe, 15 hatch, 17 spawning pool. So he's got a couple of extra drones in there. It'll be a little bit later on those Zerglings. Yeah.
Well, the nice thing with having those extra drones is you can pull more drones to defend against some early aggression while still mining a lot. In fact, we see some Zerg players like Maro, I know, goes 16 hatch, 17 pool in TVZ. And he just basically counts on being able to pull a lot of drones and using that to defend rather than those Zerglings getting out just in time, you know?
Yeah, you know, I've actually been around the offices advocating that build for a little while, or noticing it when it comes out, as a lot of players seem to have adopted that recently. Now, Rhett is going to get away with that Overlord.
Or float Overlord. I think he's going to be okay,
yeah.
Even though he is a slow Overlord right now, but he'll be able to make it away.
Reactor coming up now to eventually be swapped onto this factory. Yeah. Rhett's probably going to predict this is coming, though, and I imagine we'll have some spines prepared here in just a second. Everything's shaping up to be a fairly standard TVZ.
Ryung's SCV moving into the base of Rhett right now. As you can see, they're going to do some scouting. We'll see the gas, so he knows Rhett's getting gas. He can check the spawning pool, and he sees that the little things aren't wiggling, so he knows that Rhett is not getting any sort of fast. Oh, never mind, he is now.
Now they're wiggling.
Right after the, the SCV comes back in to see it. Yeah. So we should know that that first gas was spent on the Zergling speed, obviously, and he doesn't see a quick layer or anything like that. So
he's not actually heading back up to check gases. Usually it's pretty useful to know if a Zerg player, once they get speed, if they pull the drones off of gas, they decide to commit to the links and just go back to mineral mining for a while, or if they're going to move into tech. And Rhett's saving up some gas for what purpose, we're not quite sure yet.
Yep. Spine crawler out for Rhett as well, wanting to stay again, you know, as safe as he possibly can. Rhett also has an Overlord in a great position between the main and the natural of Ryung. He's going to be able to come in later in the game, even though that Marine is right there trying to be threatening, to do some good scouting. But the first Hellions are out for Ryung. He's going to do some scouting, get some map control. There's that magic phrase again, map control.
We've already got a couple of one spine crawler coming up at the front, a couple of the queens, what I meant to say, 3 as a matter of fact. It's going to make a pretty hard time with those Hellions to sneak on by. Yeah, the 3 queen front.
We didn't sign up for this.
Nope, I'm out of here. Yep. All right, and there we go. Actually, that factory moving right back to put down yet another reactor, so not switching over quite yet. It looks like he's just going to add some upgrades with the barracks for a little while, but interesting order of buildings there.
Going to be making plenty of Marines. Looks like he tried to snipe a creep tumor there. Oh, he doesn't quite get it in time. And yeah, those Hellions are not going to be able to really do any damage. All they can do is kind of sit there, watch for creep tumors, and kind of, I don't know, chill out. I don't know if there's a lot of room inside Hellions to like read a magazine or something. It seems like it'd be kind of cramped, but they should probably be paying attention anyway instead
Too
of
busy smoking cigars, apparently.
Things. Yeah,
but,
that's true too.
Nonetheless, Hellions are going to make their way up. They are denying creep tumors pretty well, and actually keeping Ryung pinned to one base. Very nice, actually firing on his own Hellion right there. Yes, the appreciative crowd loves the micro decision, and so he does manage to take out that creep tumor.
That's really good. I mean, if you know where the creep tumor is, Hellions are pretty durable, you know, against other red flame Hellions. So you can just run one up there, target it, kill the creep tumor, and your Hellion takes a little bit of damage for it. So not bad at all.
And Red is going to be pinned to 2 base for a while, but he moved up to quad gas pretty quick and immediately threw down a Spire. So he's going to move through the air very, very quickly here.
Very quick Spire, yeah, for Ret. So not playing that big-time Ret macro style that we see a lot of other times. Oh, Ryung causing another cancel on a creep tumor there, but yeah, Ret instead going to come out with a lot of mutas early on. Now, if we go back to Ryung's base, let's take a look to see how prepared he is. He's going to have 2 barracks with reactors, 1 with the tech lab, so he should have plenty of Marines for this in time. Stim is going to finish as well.
Yeah, definitely. No engineering bay down quite yet, at least to the best of my knowledge, so I don't think he's going to have any missile turrets prepared. Yep. But it doesn't look like he's trying to hit any sort of a +1 timing or anything along those lines, just building up a massive force of Marines for the time being.
Yeah. Ret getting that macro hatch before his third, that's a sign that he wants to play defensive, wants to stay safe. I think that's a good decision in this case, obviously, because Ryung is about to get very aggressive off of 2 bases. Yep. In fact, he just may move out here very soon. He's got a large amount of Marines, and he knows that his opponent probably doesn't have a Baneling nest right now either.
First 8 mutas on the way, however, and actually 9, so Ret's going to add quite a few. And start to try to do some economic damage. Still no engineering bay, and Ryung actually moving out right at the moment. So if Red is able to play defense behind a few Banelings, which we do see the nest coming up right away, these mutas will actually be able to run through his opponent's base unchecked.
Now here's the thing too with Ryung is that, yeah, he's not leaving any Marines at all there. He's rallying everything to the front of Red's base, so if the mutas decide to go for that counterattack, he can do some damage, but he may need those mutas just to defend here. That is a scary force from Slayer's Ryung right now.
Yeah, it really is. And he's going to make his way, just denying creep tumors and pulling back off and creep for the time being. Very smart play, just forcing some extra lings out of his opponent while he continues to take a nice economic lead. And the missile turret finishes right in time. He needs to get a repair on it. Oh, perfect.
That missile turret got up with milliseconds to spare there.
Yeah. Very impressive, but Ryung going to make his way right back in. No, actually does use a stim, perhaps trying to pull a few units back or coax yet more attack units out of his opponent when he really wants to focus on economy.
Here come all the Zerglings, and they get a bit of a surround on the bio. The muta's staying behind, take out the medevacs.
No!
Whoa.
Wow, that was actually a pretty big win for Ryung there.
Today we learned that Marines do a lot of DPS.
Yeah, they're pretty
what do you know?
Good, you know?
Marines, what do you say? Haebyung. That's the Korean word. I think I said that already today.
Yes.
But for those of you who didn't turn in earlier, the Korean word for Marine is Haebyung.
Thank you. The more you know.
The more you know.
And the mutas are good. Didn't expect them to run directly over a bunch of Marines. Was actually going to say they're making their way towards the natural, but encountered quite the group
making
of Marines
their way towards the afterlife there.
Yes.
Yep.
So a lot of Marines in position now. Ryung actually adding quite a few racks. So he is going to be able to go into mass Marine production here in a bit. Has a couple of tanks in the mix, but hasn't decided to start researching siege mode quite yet.
You know, we've seen this style a lot more often in TVZ lately. That I like to call it the SC style, Terran versus Zerg, where you just make tons of Marines, get your Marine upgrades very quickly, and then shore that up with a smaller amount of tanks than we've seen in the past. And it's been really successful, just that now most Terran players have the micro it takes to split with Banelings and everything like that. It's not something that worked early on in the life of StarCraft 2, but it works really well now.
And the Marines taking out yet another Muta. The Muta's just flying over the top of those units.
See that tank kind of freak out?
Yeah.
Well, that happened. It's
spun out.
Just like shivering. He's like, I can't shoot at Mutalisks.
I have this incredibly fast swiveling turret, but it doesn't go up.
I feel bad for the guy inside the tank. He's like, ah.
We have a second engineering bay being added to the mix. Armory following that up as well. So a lot of bio upgrades about to hit the floor. Rhett, though, has moved to his third, so we'll be able to up that economy. But Ryung's been sitting on equal bases with his opponent for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, Rhett's third did come a lot later because he had to play more defensive, more safe, had to get that macro hatch earlier on. And that's exactly what Ryung wanted to happen with that. Yeah. He's really using these closer spawn positions to his advantage. And some harassment there.
Yeah, but the harassment didn't actually end up doing anything. I think one, maybe two SCVs went down at the cost of 2 mutas and quite a bit of health as well.
Yep, those mutas not being too effective for Rhett yet this game.
And here comes Ryung. He's going to start to position his way across the map and deny a few creep tumors, and those were the freshly formed creep tumors, so no spread going to be done. Oh, poor Queen.
That's sad.
And how many banelings do we have up at the moment? Just 5. 5 more being added to the mix now. Rhett not going to be able to attack into that. Those siege tanks were positioned perfectly right off the creep.
Yeah. Now, in the middle of all this, Rhett's been working on the back rocks of Ryung's third, so if he can take those down without Ryung noticing, he might be able to come in and do some damage. We'll see.
And it already looks like a few units are going to be in position to take down that attack. Nonetheless, here comes Rhett. He's going to try and do as much damage as he can, but he's already taken a little bit of siege tank fire. Not too many Zerglings remaining. They are going to do some economic damage, but at the cost of yet more mutas and all of the lings.
Yeah, that is just so many Marines. I mean, the thing is that whenever Ryung's army shows up, Rhett needs to make a run for it. You know, he doesn't have enough lings and mutas to handle something like what Ryung has at the moment, and without that ability to harass, Ryung's going to be able to take that really secure third and eventually put a lot of pressure on Rhett.
And we only have +1 weapons finishing up now for those lings, whereas 2-2 is on the way now for Ryung. So he's doing quite well with his upgrades. Rhett now going to make his way down to the bottom right and does manage to pick off 1 turret, but again at the loss of a Mutalisk, and he's just not been able to trade favorably. We do have a Thor in the mix as well, so that's certainly going to help against any sort of air units.
You know, now the nice thing with what Rhett is doing, though, is that he's kind of saying, well, Ryung, if you want to move out of your base, I'm going to come in with my mutas and do some damage. So Ryung does need to sit back, play a little bit more defensively, and Rhett is going to be able to use that to shift into that macro style that he loves so much, get more hatcheries. We see his 4th on the way already. I'd say it wouldn't be surprising at all to see a 5th coming soon, just because he knows Ryung is not going to be doing much drop play either.
Certainly, and as much as we've been crediting Ryung for very, very efficient, very good play with losing just only a few units, Rhett may lose another mutant. No, he turns around in time, but you know, I've got to say, even with the losses that Rhett has suffered, let's look at the map. He's going to 4 base. He's moving into macro mode. He has good creep spread. He's about max. So Rhett has still played a pretty decent game so far and still in prime position to go ahead and take out his opponent. A few lings rolling around the right-hand side. They're going to take out a couple of these Marines, but not doing all that much damage. Looks like Rhett has killed 12 workers altogether.
Yeah, you know, if you notice here, Ryung's only mining from the gases there. He just needs the gas right now. He's got enough minerals to produce enough Marines. Rhett has a large amount of mutas out right now.
These tanks are unprotected. One goes down.
Snipes a tank and gets away.
Yeah, that was a decent little win there. You know, Rhett hasn't come by many of those yet in this game of good muta wins or being able to trade effectively, but it works really well right there.
More lings running in here. And Ryung's going to be able to respond. Might lose an SCV or 2, but no, he's going to be just fine. There's actually still a couple lings loose in the mineral line there.
But Rhett is trading pretty inexpensive units to keep Ryung on 3 base or in not being able to extend himself on creep, not being able to drop or anything like that. In fact, we had one medevac that's moving the long way around all the way at the 12 o'clock position.
That's spotted by the Overlord as well.
That's going to coincide with a big move out, though, for Ryung, moving right through the middle. Here comes the attack. Rhett making his way in.
Wow, and really nice engagement by Rhett, but is it enough? Ryung splitting those Marines pretty well. He's lost some, but didn't lose enough. Yeah, Ryung coming out pretty far ahead in that.
Yeah, a lot of Mutalisks went down. Rhett actually lost quite a bit there. Yeah. He is down now by 17 supply, and it looks like Ryung is going to reestablish that 4th base he was trying to build over near his natural.
Yep. I think he's going to be just fine there. I mean, that's the thing with going this huge heavy Marine style, is that you can take some big baneling hits and still actually be okay with that.
Right.
Yeah, like Ryung splitting could have actually been a little bit better, but it worked out. That's only Marines.
That force for Ryung is actually cleared up, but it allows him to start moving forward through the middle of the map and take out a few more creep tumors.
Yeah.
He does stim up a lot of those units, though. He wasn't really able to take out all that much in return. Rhett may decide to swing around with a bunch of Banelings and try and kill the third, but he doesn't really have much to engage this force straight up at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Rhett's still even on supply right now, but you don't want to be even on supply in ZVT, really. You want to be ahead as a Zerg player, because you kind of need that, you know? You need that advantage. You need to be able to replace those units quickly, too, which is, it's good he's got his fourth. Oh, and there's also a Greater Spire on the way, too.
Yeah, notice that. And Adrenal Glands coming out, so...
Yep.
There we have it. Ryung moving his way to the middle of the map once again as Rhett takes his base over at the top left-hand corner. Drop going down, near the third. And Ryung is going to have that cleared up. Nice fungal does catch that. See if that medevac gets away.
Oh,
it does.
Barely doesn't get it. Oh, I feel like she could if she walked to the edge of the creep. That is the luckiest medevac in StarCraft 2.
Ryung just tempting his opponent, though. He's going to redrop those units.
Yep. Overlord can see it, though, so Rhett might be able to clean that up fairly quickly.
Another attack through the third of Ryung, though, and there's really nothing in position this time, so that actually could kill quite a few units. At the same time, Rhett is going to try and attack through these forces in the middle, gets a fungal growth on top of the medevac, so it's going to limit their usefulness for a little while. However, siege tank position just a little bit too good, but those Zerglings actually did quite a bit of damage. Now 32 workers killed for Rhett.
You know, Rhett's starting to be on the way for a comeback here. Ryung having to lift his Thor there to save it, too. Thors don't like that. They're very prideful about things like that. You know, they're like, Thor is here. I don't need to be lifted by medevac.
That is an excellent Thor impression.
Oh,
I'm not even going to try and counter that one. I bow to your brilliance. Drop going into the top left-hand corner at the same time that Ryung is moving through the middle. This hatchery will go down as Red is going to have to deal with these forces in the middle. A couple of nice fungal growths are falling, but the siege tanks at the back are doing quite a bit of damage, and most of Red's forces did disappear.
That is a lot of very expensive infestors running into the Marine meat grinder of Ryung, and that is going to set Red back a little ways. Now, oh wow, look at those. All the Marines for Ryung are very low on health right now, right as the Broodlords come out.
He needs to drop that Thor. The Thor would be really useful at the moment. And let's see, the Thor managed to make its way out just before the medevac goes down.
Yeah.
And Broodlords are going to pop up with full health, but they're probably, let's see how many anti-air units. Yeah, they're going to go down.
Well, the thing is that those Marines are 3-3 right now, and Ryung, you see those nice little touches.
Marines over at the, over at the tentacle position as well. A ton more units being killed.
Wow, yeah. Ryung's still definitely in this game, despite the Broodlords being out. No, he was able to handle it very easily. This third base by Rhett, or fourth base, is being shut down.
Yeah, if he PFs that gold right now, that's actually super critical, especially with nothing to really range that. There's not, are there any more Broodlords on the field? No, there's 3 Corruptors, and that's it at the moment. So Rhett is not going to endanger that PF for quite a while.
Yeah. Now, you see Ryung doing these really nice little touches, too. What I was going to mention is when those Broodlords were in there, Ryung actually moved his tanks up ahead of his Marines.
And there it is! GG! Wow. Congratulations to Slayers. Ryung takes game number 1 in this final set of the night.
Yeah, but I'm going to finally finish that sentence, I promise, that idea. But yeah, Ryung moved his tanks ahead to take the fire from the Broodlords because he wouldn't have had enough Marines otherwise to handle those Broodlords. So Ryung's just